Hey everybody, I'm going to read about Dylan Rounds. He is a missing 19-year-old. He's missing from Lucin, Utah, and he was trying to be a farmer. That was what his family had done most of his life, and he wanted to be a farmer too. He bought some land and was trying to turn it into farmable land. It was in the desert, and it's a strange case. He just disappeared, and the police have looked. They can't find him. FBI now has gotten involved recently in the last, I think, week or two, and he still hasn't been found. Like he has just a trailer kind of out in the middle of nowhere. If you look on the maps and on the TV and what it'll show you, it's just he's really out there in the middle of the desert by himself. One strange thing was that his boots were found like 100 yards away from his truck. And I heard an interview with his mom where they were saying his truck was washed or something, and they thought that was really strange too. So I don't know. We're just going to ask. They've done searches. They haven't found him around there. So we're just going to ask, the normal questions like his parents said they thought at first it was an accident, like a farming accident. So we're going to ask that, and he just hasn't been found. Or did he leave on his own? Because people do leave on their own and disappear. Doesn't sound like that's the situation, but we're going to ask because, stranger things have happened. People go and change their identities and become somebody else. We're going to ask if there was foul play. That seems to be what people think now. And we're going to ask about suicide because unfortunately that is another thing that does happen. And we're also going to ask what happened. We'll probably pull a few cards for what happened depending on what I'm getting. Um, we're going to ask where he can be found and the closest recognizable landmark, like within a few miles. Now, the hard thing with that is he was out in the middle of the desert. So it's not like there's a lot of landmarks, it's just land. I mean, sand pretty much. And there's not a lot out there. So we'll see. We'll see how close we can get, whatever information we get, if anything. But let's start with was this a farming accident? So I'm just going to take a second to kind of pull myself together and my thoughts and focus on the farming accident. Was Dylan Rounds in a farming accident? So what his family thought. I guess he never left the house without those boots on. He had like one pair of shoes and it was those boots. And they were found just kind of sitting in the desert. Farming accident. It's like an alien came down and picked him up and drove him away. It's just, he just totally disappeared. It makes no sense. So you'd think if it was a farming accident, they would have found him. I don't know that there's many places. I did hear something about there being a pond on his yard, but I would think by now they have searched that pond as well. I can't imagine it's that deep in the middle of the desert. It's more like for irrigation. So, farm accident. Okay, I'll have to take that one. I don't like starting off with a judgment card. I'll just say I don't. Judgment sometimes can be someone passed and they passed not, it wasn't the first person that these people did this to, or this person did this to. It could be passing of many, the passing of many, I'll put it that way. Not at the same time, it doesn't have to be, but just that something happened um, that did affect this person's ability to continue life, unfortunately. Um, Sometimes I get the judgment card, yeah, from somebody who has, right now I would lean towards foul play. I know farming accident, but that just doesn't seem. Okay, I'll put it this way. Sometimes I get the judgment card when someone else makes the judgment to pass somebody else, makes that judgment. I hope that's not the case. Let's read a little bit more. Judgment can just be making a bad judgment yourself as well. I mean, it can really be a little hard. He could have made a bad judgment at some point, and for some reason it caught up with him. I don't feel it's a farming accident. Left on his own. Let's just kind of left on his own. Decided he was going to start a new life, walk away from everything. Highly unlikely, if you ask me in my thinking mind. But we're not asking me. We're asking beyond me and what knowledge is in the universe that may be able to come through. So Dylan Rounds leaving on his own. Dylan Rounds leaving on his own. Let's see what we get for that. Dylan Rounds leaving on his own, starting a new life. This is a leaving card. It is. Leaving in your thoughts. Sometimes our thoughts can get the best of us, and we need to go inside of ourselves and just get away for a little bit. So this is the Six of Swords. I really don't think he left on his own, though. Although this is a leaving card, I know that's odd. I do think perhaps he was taken somewhere else, um, with by somebody else. That's the impression I'm getting of this. I do think he left, but I don't think it was that he left on his own. I think somebody else took him away, and it was a real kind of anxious. You see all the swords. The swords are your thoughts, and I feel like there was a lot of misgivings on what happened here. And I felt that when I was meditating too. I saw this like kind of guy with like darker hair that was kind of curly and kind of just messy looking, um, going every which way. But a young guy too, younger, kind of around his age, with like maybe pimply skin, Caucasian. Um, let's ask about foul play, which I'm leaning to at this point, especially with that judgment card. Foul play. Is foul play involved? I feel like he went somewhere with someone. And since it was a guy around his age, it might even been somebody he considered a friend. Foul play. And then things happen sometimes. And could someone have taken his boots and his truck back and just dumped them? Who knows? Foul play. Was this a foul play situation? Well, that's the King of Swords. The King of Swords really is somebody that is a mastermind. Really, he's got very much things planned out. He's very smart, and he's a planner. Totally. I think this thing was planned out. Somebody was really determined. Really determined. Let me ask a little bit more about that. Because we've got swords again, the plans, the thoughts, and then there's somebody in charge of all of this. Let me ask a little bit more to expand on that. Foul play with Dylan Rounds. Foul play. Foul play with Dylan Rounds. What an odd situation. Like somebody came and picked him up. I don't know if he went out with a friend or what. Foul play with Dylan Rounds, but something somebody thought was a friend. Okay, so there's two cards here. And this was foul play. This is it's interesting because it's a farmer card, isn't it? It's a Seven of Pentacles and somebody wanting to make money, and he's working and he's been building up and he's been working towards something. And you see that here, and that's exactly what Dylan was doing. I mean, this card really reflects what he was doing. He was working that land, and he was with the hopes of making money, which this person in this card is exactly doing. He's even got boots on. I really think this card is a good representation of Dylan and what he was hoping for. He had a lot of hopes and dreams tied up in this. Definitely, I'm not feeling suicide at all. I feel like he definitely had a lot of plans, a lot of thoughts on how he was going to turn this into a profitable business, and he was following those. And remember, I said I just wonder if there was a friend involved. I do feel this whole friend connection, and here we have the Two of Cups. Like somebody else was involved, that he actually trusted this person. Something happened. I don't. There was somebody he trusted, and that's I feel like what they need to look at. Somebody he trusted in this situation. Maybe he even thought this person was going to help him or something. Those things can go all wrong real quick. Okay. Or somebody that befriended him in the moment that he trusted. Let me ask about what happened. Let's just expand on that since we've got a little bit of the story here. Let's expand on what happened. What happened with Dylan Rounds? What happened with Dylan Rounds? What happened with Dylan Rounds? Did I just see him like in a truck with someone else? What happened with Dylan Rounds? Huh. Well, this is the Ten of Wands. That's the hard-working card. And I think he was. I think he was a hard worker. He was trying to push through things. He was trying to get things done. All these people have boots on. It's so interesting. We keep getting guys with boots on. And I didn't realize how many people in the tarot have boots on. His boots were significant. Every card I pulled has boots on. And so I think these boots are real significant. The whole boot situation is really significant here. So what happened? I get it. He was working very hard. We do know that. Let's pull more. That's kind of a reflection of that Seven of Pentacles that we got, where he was working hard towards something, pushing through something. Tell me more about what happened. What happened with Dylan Rounds? What happened with Dylan Rounds? Well, that again, it's showing me what he was doing. This is good because I'm getting the story, so we'll just continue with it. He was working really hard. You see this guy's out in the desert. You know, he's got his boots on. Another guy with boots on. He's got his wand. He's trying to grow things, right? He's looking at it. He's watching it starting out there in the middle of the desert where you wouldn't think things would grow. He's a very active young guy. He's a page. That's where I would put Dylan, as a page, just starting out. Again, another card that very much depicts who he was. So, okay, we've got that. He was working hard. He wanted to grow things. He was in the desert. He's a young kid. He's trying to make things work. Tell me more about what happened the day that he disappeared, the day that he went missing. Tell me more about that. Tell me more about the day Dylan went missing. You know, multiple times now in my mind I've seen this, so I'm just going to say what it was. I see like a, I don't know if it's a road, but it's definitely a path through these big rock, and they're this way, kind of like this. If your hand like shaped like this, you know, like I don't know if they're sandstone. They're very like tan. They look like the color of sand. But there's two of them, both on either side, and there's like a path in between. I've seen that a couple times now. Tell me what happened the day that Dylan went missing. What caused him to go missing? What caused Dylan to go missing? Let's be more exact on that because I've got the story of Dylan here. What caused Dylan to go missing? Dylan Rounds, 19-year-old farmer. What caused him to go missing? What caused Dylan to go missing? What caused Dylan to go missing? Well, that's the Knight of Pentacles. And that, these cards are also interesting. He was money focused. I see this. He was trying to make money. You'll see back here is all tillable ground, all the ground tilled up. He's got his eye on the prize of, I'm going to work this land. I'm going to make money. It's a slow go. The Knight of Pentacles, he's the slowest of the knights. He's progress. And that's what I heard. This whole land thing, it took 2 years for him to get the land ready, and his first crop was just in there. And so it was a slow go, but he had been working on it, and he was very much, he was going to make money. So again, we have the story of Dylan here, very much so. But what caused him to go missing? That's what we need to know. If anything, these are great cards for validation. You can't get much better cards for validation of his life, because these are the cards that really are telling us exactly about what he was doing in life. Let me focus again. Tell us about what caused Dylan to go missing. We see the whole farming scenes. We've seen them again and again and again. What actually happened? What caused him to disappear and not be here anymore? Not be where he should be anymore. Tell us about that. Okay. Tell us more about Dylan and what happened. Tell us more about Dylan and what happened. Okay, well, here's the Queen of Swords. So now we're going in a different direction. Yay. Because we understand Dylan. We understand he was a farmer and he was working the land and he was working really hard and he was trying to grow things and he had the land all tilled up with his money eye on the prize. I've got like 4 cards that tell me about Dylan and his farming, which is awesome. But now what happened? The Queen of Swords is somebody being very communicating sometimes in a harsh manner, and I feel like this was a harsh manner. It's truth, and it's sometimes you don't have to hurt people's feelings to tell them the truth, but the Queen of Swords is not so diplomatic. Sometimes she doesn't care the way her words sting. So let me read on that a little bit more. Sounds like, this person is confrontational, the Queen of Swords. Tell me more about this situation. Now I've got the Queen of Swords here. Tell me more about that situation with this confrontation. And it's interesting because earlier we did have the King of Swords. And that, again, is somebody speaking the truth. And that I was saying the planner. The Queen of Swords is also a planner. Very much plans. And this one is very much carrying them out with the Queen of Swords. Okay. Tell me more about what happened. I still don't feel like I have a good understanding of what happened to Dylan Rounds that day, night he disappeared. Tell me more about what happened with Dylan. Dylan Rounds, what happened? Why did he disappear? Tell me more about what happened with Dylan. Why did he disappear? Well, these are interesting. This is the Emperor now. And the Emperor is somebody who's in charge, as is the Queen of Swords. I mean, the Queen of Swords is very in charge. She's, these two kind of have similar personalities. Emperor is father, often. Not saying his father was involved at all. But somebody who has that kind of higher status. He's got status behind him, power behind him. And then we have this Queen of Swords with this whole kind of confrontational personality, and um, I feel like there were other people involved, and they were who took charge here. It's weird. When I was meditating, I saw his like hands tied behind his back. Now that doesn't mean his hands like were literally tied, because it can be literal and or it could be figurative. Um, like your hands are tied and there's nothing you can do. But I do feel like there's other people involved here. More powerful people. Tell me more about this. Okay, so we've got a woman, we've got a man. Tell me more about this situation with Dylan Brown's disappearing. The woman looks to be a mother as well. And I say that because Queen of Swords, if you look at her chair, she's got a child underneath it. Tell me more about Dylan Rounds and disappearing. I mean, it could just be telling me that his mother and father were out looking for him, but because we've gotten sort of the whole story from here, tell me more about him disappearing. Well, now we have the King of Pentacles. These are all extremely powerful cards in the deck. The Queen of Swords, the Emperor, the King of Pentacles. They're people with power. They're people that have status. They're people that, yeah, they're people with power. What is going on with that? So these people that had much more power than him were involved in this. It's going to be a slow read, I do believe, because we're getting little bits and chunks here and there. Okay, tell me more. Tell me more about what happened. Tell me how Dylan disappeared. Tell me how. How did he go missing? I do feel like people are involved. We've got, it looks like several actually. How did Dylan go missing? At least, how did Dylan go missing? Well, that is the Sun card, and that's a card. I kind of got that feeling like he went willingly with somebody he even trusted, thought of as a friend, perhaps. On the flip side, he's out there in the sun, and that blazing hot sun could get really hot. But his boots were close to the house, so it's like you try to make it logical in your mind, and it probably never will be. Because when we do this, we get little bits and pieces of the story, and we're trying to put it together. And that's the hard part in tarot and in psychic work and everything. Because your interpretations come in. And sometimes your interpretations are right and sometimes they're not. But the sun. Sun can also be, we got Emperor as father, and now we've got Sun. Was there someone around there that he felt like a son to or something? Or is this just more of the story of his parents looking for him out in the desert? And he's their son. It's going to be a long one. Sorry, people. Nothing's coming to me really fast. It's like very slowly unfolding the story of what happened. I will ask a little bit more. Tell me more about the day Dylan disappeared. What happened to him? What caused him to disappear? I get this whole farming thing. I get that his parents or someone's parents were involved. Not involved in a bad way. looking for him. I get the whole working. That's again that hard worker, eight of pentacles, and him working, working towards this. And we saw that again and again and again. I just feel like I'm not making a lot of progress in this reading. I'm going to change focus. Let's go to where he can be found. Tell me where Dylan can be found. I need to get those rock figure type things in my mind. Tell me where Dylan can be found. Now, again, this is going to be a hard one because it's the desert. What are they going to show? Sand? You know, we'll probably get a wands card that's very deserty. But let's ask anyway because it doesn't hurt. Where can he be found? Well, this is an interesting one because I told you I had that little vision of him being like tied. His hands are tied, and this person's hands are tied. They're literally tied up, and this is very much an anxiety, nervous, scared. Outside of the home's really far, quite back, but this so outside, away from his home. There's a tiny bit of water here. I don't think there's much water in that desert. With this person's hands are tied. I think that's again telling us a little bit more about the story, which is good. We've made a little more progress. Let's ask for the closest recognizable landmark. Tell me about the closest recognizable landmark in that area. Closest recognizable landmark. In my mind, I saw some mountain figures, but my understanding was it's more like flat desert there. I guess I don't understand what it looks like. I need to look. Closest recognizable landmarks. But again, I saw that. It kind of looked like sandstone or something in that one that's got a path and there's two on each side. Closest recognizable landmark. Well, that's the Empress. And again, that's a mother card. We saw the Queen of Swords, which was more mothering type card too. And then we had the Emperor with the Father card, King of Pentacles, and the Sun, which made me think Sun, him a son. I don't know where his parents lived, how far they were. Did he go and visit a girl? Was there a girl involved? Was that what we saw in the Two of Cups? Or was he going by his mother's property? To his mother's property. It's very peaceful place in the Empress. She's, down here there's wheat and stuff that's been grown. The Empress is a card of comfort. Is there a place that he sought comfort, solitude? It's interesting. There's a little bit of water in there. I don't know if there's any places around there that they can actually swim on. It looked so dry. But it looks like a place that one might go to seek kind of the comfort and relaxation. Relaxation. Okay, I'm just going to ask for advice. I feel like this story never really told me the story, and it's a little frustrating. But let me ask for advice. Give me some advice, and I'll ask what to know. But give me advice on this whole situation. Advice. Give me advice on this situation. Never had a reading like unfold so slowly. I feel like I could have used half my deck. Well, this is the Five of Cups, which is a loss card. It's mourning your losses. and focusing on what's been lost instead of what you still have. You know, don't just look at what's been lost. That's an interesting phrase. When he's missing, don't just look at what's been lost. Hmm. I think there's a message in that because he's the one who's lost. And don't just look at what's been lost. Okay. And then let's ask, what do we need to know? So what I'm getting is the focus should really be way beyond Dylan. Don't just keep looking for what's lost. What do we need to know? What do we need to know? What do we need to know? Well, again, that's like somebody trusting someone and befriending them, um, and I did get that here. I felt that with him. That was somebody that he trusted. I don't know if it was somebody he knew for a long time, but in that moment he trusted this person. And they came with him, making him feel like he could trust them. So, in situations like that, was it a friend and something just went wrong and then they freaked and they didn't want to tell anybody? You hear about things like that, and I'm not saying, I don't want, anyone that I'm suggesting they were doing drugs or things like that. I don't want to make that even a question because I have no clue. I have no feelings on that one way or the other. But to use it as an example, an analogy, since you go out with your friend, you hear these stories, maybe not you, but people go out with friends and something happens, somebody overdoses or something, and the person, instead of admitting it, they hide it. Something can happen and somebody hides it. Well, I did see that weird hands are tied situation, so I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure, but it looks like he trusted somebody, and something happened in that. And I think that's where they need to look, is like, who did he trust? I don't know. It's very, very odd. Odd. I didn't get as much information from this as what I would have liked to have. Unfortunately, that's about as good as it gets for this. But I would not look just for Dylan. Look for all the people that he trusted. Go there. All right, that's it. Take care. Bye.